When I saw this comment, I was like, oh my God, fuck, right? APA referencing, all referencing. I was the worst referencer. I made so many mistakes. Oh my God. And I kept trying to find like shortcuts. So I didn't really have to learn how to do it. And guess what? I ended up having to learn it anyway. So there are great tools out there. I used to use this really cheap one called Cite This For Me, but they often make mistakes. Like Cite This For Me does make mistakes. So you have to check it yourself, which means guess what? You have to know how to reference. Fuck. So if you're someone like me and you have to do APA style referencing, I'll show you a really cool website that my best friend showed me the other week, and I've been loving it. It's way more simple than using the entire referencing guide, but also it shows you where you can find this information and more like this in that referencing guide. So it's kind of awesome. This resource is called APAStyle. So how do we go about finding this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is, you guessed it, we're going to Google APAStyle, bam, bring us to this list of beautiful things. As you can see, I've clicked a bunch of them to death like a psycho. We're going to click that top one, which I can't point to, I'll lose my finger, APAStyle. That should bring you to this. So this is the home page, and you can see at the top, there's a lot of different little things up there. The main one that I be clicking on all the time is that style and grammar guideline little button. So if we click on him, we'll have a look at what drops down. We've got options for page formatting, tables and figures, in-text citations, referencing, mechanics of style, grammar, bias-free language, and I think it's the publication process. It's pretty tiny. I'm not going to go through them all today. I can if you want, just let me know. But have a look yourself. It's pretty clear, which is great, but we can go through, I'll go through the paper formatting, and we can go through in-text citations and references. So let's start by clicking on paper format. Ooh, I'm on the website, hello. So when we click paper format, it'll bring this page like this. Anyone you click will bring you to a page like this, where we'll do a little brief description of like why it's important, things like that. And underneath it will have its own little things you can click on, all these options here. So one that we've been working with my students at the minute is setting up a title page. So let's have a look at title page setup. One of my favorite things about this website is it explains why you need them, and also kind of like just the little details that usually like in the tiny like fine print. So for example, it tells you immediately that there are different title page formats for students and professionals. So it's got an example below of a student title page. So it's got all the little same things that the reference manual, the APA, the big one, has. So it's got all the little, you know, all the little rules and why and things like that. But the other thing it has, if you can see those little blue guys over here, see if I can move my own head. Ooh, floaty. These guys here, it's got a little guide and a setup guide. Let's click on that first one and see what it gives us. And I'm tiny. So this is super cool. You can download these as PDFs. There's obviously much more. I just couldn't fit it all on one page, and it would just drive you bonkers waiting for me to just like change all the images. But it has all the things you need to include, and it explains why, and it explains exactly how it needs to be written. Let's move into the reference list. A bit like with the title page setup and the page formatting, it explains all the important things, and it also has its own little drop-down menu. I'll just get the next image up so you can see what it's cut off. So it's got quite a few things we can look at. So we've got basic principles of the reference list, great place to start, reference list examples, reference list versus bibliographies. Got heaps of things to choose from. A really helpful one is the DOI and URL one when you're learning. But let's start by clicking on basic principles of a reference list entry. I love when they break it down, so simple for my hillbilly ass. This is a really cool thing when you're first learning. All this stuff really bamboozled me. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm dyscalculic or what, because like it's words, but like, I just like, it was these things that were just fucking confusing me. So yeah, great place to start. And you can see up here where it says learn more, it'll show you where to go, and the big manual if you wanted to have a look in there as well. Let's have a scroll on this page. Ooh, punctuation, how sexy could it be? Limit does not exist, guys. It doesn't. So this has all the information you could possibly need. And if that wasn't enough, there's also a fucking picture. Let's have a look at the picture. It's color-coded, love that shit. It's got everything outlined for us, guys. So if you're learning how to do a reference list, come here. And oh, what's that? There's examples up here of a reference list. Shall we click on it? Obviously. I know I'm blocking like the whole screen, I'm so sorry, but I don't want to be a tiny head anymore. Makes me feel weird. So this is just a common example. If this is about 2 pages long, it can also be downloaded as a PDF, and it has all different like kind of classic things that we would be referencing. Keep in mind, like, see how it's got these headings, like journal article section, like this wouldn't necessarily be on a student paper. So make sure you're checking with your university and your, like the big book. I think what they're trying to more so show you is like what a journal would look like, what a magazine would look like. This might be something you see more like in a different, like maybe not, well, it wouldn't be something we did at my university. We wouldn't have those headings like that. We would have it in alphabetical order and hanging indents. But again, great examples of how to do each thing. Let's go, should we go to in-text referencing before we finish? Yeah, let's do it, why not? Love it, okay, let's do it. Brings us to another page like this. And again, I think I've cut off a bunch of the other things and I can't find the image because I'm cool like that, super organized. But I think the first thing we should do is, again, look at the basic principles and then have a look at some examples. Let's do it. So it begins by describing why we have in-text references. For those of you who still are not sure, it's just a way for like the reader. So like, let's say in an assignment, it's a bit different than in a professional publication, but in an assignment, it's a way for us to check where you got your sources from. So we'll see like where you got that piece of information from, because there'll be a little reference. We'll go to your reference list, use the DOI URL, and we'll go and have a look and check that. If it was a professional publication, it's a great way of finding similar research or things we agree with, or finding like other sources we can use in our work, okay? So that's why your in-text reference has to be correct, because it helps the reader to find it correctly in the in-text reference, which then allows us to go and find that source. So very important middleman, think of him like that, okay? So let's do a little look, I think, at, I can't see, my head's in the way, but let's have a look at these checklists, hey? They're the fun bit, my favorite. This is so helpful, honestly. At first I was like, I don't think I need this. Yeah, no, I definitely did. I definitely did. My students use this a lot and they found it really helpful. So you just go through each question and you literally ask yourself, have I done this? There's a second part, which I did remember to take a picture of, and let's have a look at that. See, totally remembered. So we've got ways to check that we've included a reference for quotations and that we've done it correctly. Ways, yeah, again, direct quotes, yeah. Look at it, beautiful. Oh my God, makes me so excited just to look at it. And if you need something that's just like a little bit more of just like a reminder of shit you already know, this is something I have on my laptop. This might seem super obvious, but this is where mistakes are made by people like me. So step 1, read the work. Identify the idea you want to put in your paper. 3, write a sentence about the idea. 4, write a reference list entry for that work. 5, add the corresponding in-text citation to that sentence. The reason that they're putting those two next to each other, and I've made this mistake a fucking 100 times and I still see it in people's work all the time, is that people either forget to add a reference that they've included in the in-text citation to their reference list, or vice versa. So there'll be like this random reference in the reference list and I can't see any information that seems to be connected to that. So those 2 steps are probably the most important ones in my mind. And 6, repeat. Yeah, you want to do it consistently. So this is just 3 of the things you can do. If you go back to the main page, I'll show you, there's this really helpful thing if you're looking for something really specific advice. Go back to this page and you just click on the style and grammar guideline thing. So you don't click on the others, you just click on that big drop down thing. You'll get this list, and I promise I did remember to include the second bit this time. This little part, we'll go to that next. But you can find the specific thing you're having trouble with and click on that and it will take you straight there. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that bottom part before we leave. This tables and figures one, this will definitely save lives. This one takes forever to find in the big manual, but yeah, you can click directly on it. I hope that was smooth and clear. I'm so sorry, I feel like my brain was just all over the place. If it wasn't, let me know and I'll make like a new video, a clearer one, or if there's something specific you wanted me to explain, let me know, because I'm going to start making a series once I'm finished with helpful resources, explaining referencing and writing and things like this. So just as a thing to leave you with, this website here is connected to this guy here, just in case you're a bit confused because I was being a confusing little butch. But yeah, so APAStyle, guys. Hope this was helpful. If not, ask ChatGPT, I guess. Bye.